Hi there.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for doing this tonight.
I literally just saw your email from this morning. I'm so sorry. It was one of
No,
those
it's
days that
okay.
I didn't sit down.
I was getting a little worried. I was like, okay, I haven't heard from her.
I'm
It'll be
so sorry.
okay.
The
No,
holidays in retail, sometimes there are days that we don't touch the computers.
oh, I'm sure. And especially with the new location in Brunswick too, right? How's that
Yeah,
going?
it's going great.
Good.
Unfortunately, because there are other people in my house at this time of day, I have to do this in our like a closet.
You're totally fine. I no judgment there. We all know the Zoom world.
Yeah.
So I have actually first, let me make sure you are set up as a co-host. There you go. All right, so you should be able to do a screen share
Yep.
now. So if you want to show me just what you have, we'll make sure that's all functioning. And then I'll test mine too.
So that's being shared, and then I can make it full screen.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that looks great. Perfect. And I will pop mine up in a second. So yeah, you can pull that.
So I basically took the presentation I usually give, made it a little shorter, and tacked on a bunch of slides about holidays, entertaining, gifting.
Awesome.
Deciding not to gift,
Yeah. No, I think that's perfect. We had some registrations kind of coming in today. I did another post on social media trying to like get a few extra people in. So it's always like, we'll see kind of based on who registered and with the date change. So I'm not sure how many people we'll have. But I'm going to tell people to put questions as you go in the chat, unless you want to take them on the fly.
I can do that either way. Sometimes it's hard to like restart where you were with questions. So unless there's something that you'll be looking at the chat. If you feel like something's super vital, feel free to interrupt me.
Okay. I'll just pop in if there's something that comes up in there, and otherwise I'll just read those off to you at the end.
Right.
And then you can answer them as we go. And what are you thinking for timing? I know originally when we talked, it was like 45 minutes, or,
it probably won't be that long.
Okay.
Me talking, I'd prefer not to have it be me talking, but more like discussion. I think that's more compelling than just people listening to me, but
excellent. Okay.
But sometimes I talk more than others.
And is there anything else I should add to your bio or introduction that you would like me to say?
Whatever you're saying is wonderful. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right, so let me see if I can share this. All right. So that's where we're going to start. And I have about 4 or 5 slides. I think it's 4, just as a quick introduction to CREA. So I'll go over those and then I will pass it off.
Which I can't wait to visit.
Yes. Have you ever been to our location?
No, I haven't.
Well, if you're in Brunswick, we are over in Topsham. So we're on the Cattons River Nature Preserve, and we're sort of tucked into a 55 plus community. We were formed basically because there was this organization in Topsham of citizens that met with the builder and really decided that they wanted to protect this land. And it became preserved, and we have over 5 miles of hiking trails and 235 acres. So it's a really nice place. It's nice for the residents too, because they have this right out their back door, but we also have this really nice, quiet community around the preserve.
Yeah.
So that the hiking is gorgeous. It's like I've done a lot of hiking in the area, and it's still my favorite trails. I'm like,
Oh, that's great. I'd love to check it out.
absolutely. And where are you're based in South Portland, or where are you
So
based?
I live in Cape Elizabeth.
Okay.
But yeah, our first store is in South Portland, in Nightville. It's a very fun neighborhood.
And when did that store open?
We opened our first store in 2019.
Oh, wow. And that was affected by pandemic at that time? Was that like
Yeah.
opened and
You know,
then very
we were
quiet
like,
after?
yeah, we were like 7 months old. So we were just still figuring out what this was going to be. And, you know, interestingly, when everything kind of closed down, I was like, well, that was a fun experiment.
Oh, yeah.
But our customers came like basically banging down the door, and we're like, how are we going to get our stuff from you? How are you going to do this? And I really took their lead, and we did curbside for 2.5 months, curbside only, which was hard. But then as soon as we reopened, it was like, there were more people coming out of the woodwork who wanted to refill. Cause I think a lot of people really felt the weight of pandemic trash, like ordering their groceries online and getting takeout more than ever, and everything coming like triple wrapped, and everything being disposable for a while. So we had a lot of people who, like, for their first time, were like, I need to offset this pandemic trash somehow.
Yeah. I know for us, we had, I want to say it was 2018. I read Bea Johnson's book and did like a big zero waste push, and not completely zero waste, but, you know, trying to reduce as much as we could. And we did so well. And then exactly what you're saying, all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, all the bulk is gone, and it's all these plastic packages. So,
and no coffee shops will refill your mug anymore. And you weren't even supposed to bring your bags to the grocery store. Luckily that ended.
I know. I'm still disappointed that Hannaford doesn't have their bulk section anymore, but
our Hannaford had already gotten rid of their bulk section.
Oh, it's still on the sign of the aisle. That's what bothers me.
Oh, that's so like brutal.
Bulk, but it's all the little plastic packages. So.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see our time here. I am going to grab one thing before we start. Great. Letting people in here. So I'll be right back.
Great. Can you hear any background noise?
No, I can't hear anything.
So it's just
I have kids at my house too, like
I'm the only one who can hear them. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, maybe with the earbuds we won't hear as much.
Yeah, there's a really nice place upstairs that I can do these if I'm here by myself, but it's really loud.
It's okay. All right. So we have 3 minutes. If it's okay with you, I think I'm just going to start letting people in.
Great.
And they will see this. screen. Laura, I can introduce you to Caroline Elliott, who's on here. She is our executive director at CREA.
Really nice to meet you, Caroline. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, thanks for doing this. We're totally delighted. I'm hoping I'm going to take notes, but also hoping to get some great ideas.
Great.
My sister is a huge fan. She lives in South Portland, has been to your place many times.
Wonderful. Well, thank her for me.
I will. I think she's actually going to come tonight.
Oh, great.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give everybody a few more minutes to hop on our program tonight about sustainable gift giving. So hang tight. All right, I'm going to give one more minute before we get started here. We'll see if anybody else hops on. Okay, so we're going to get started, and as people join us, we will let them in to the program. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Jenny Mueller, and I am the CAMP director at CREA, as well as our year-round administrator, working with our executive director, Caroline Elliott, on all of our programs. So I'm so glad that you're all here tonight. We're excited for our program about sustainable gift giving. And just to tell you a little bit about CREA before we jump into our program, we are based, if you do not know us already, we're based in Topsham and Brunswick. We have an ecology center over on the Cattons River Nature Preserve in Topsham. And these programs are all possible because of the people who are members to our organization. So if you would like to become a member, we absolutely encourage you to do that. If you just want to check it out, you can visit us right on our website and see all of our year-round programs that we run. We do run these programs free of charge for members of our community as well as CREA members, thanks to the donations from our member community. If you haven't been to our ecology center, this is a beautiful picture of what the inside of our ecology center looks like. It is open to the public every Sunday from 12 to 2 year round. And as I hope you are looking forward to the snow as much as I am, we have snowshoes available at the Ecology Center free of charge for anyone to use throughout the winter months as soon as we have enough snow on the ground. So definitely stop by and visit us. We have a great team of volunteers that is in there every Sunday, and they can give you a tour of the building. You can see all of our mounts and main mineral collection and our extensive library as well. Outside of this program, we do have some really exciting walks and talks coming up. The ones coming up are family-friendly events for all ages. So we are going to be at Curtis Memorial Library in Brunswick next week, making lanterns for the winter solstice. And then the week after that, we are partnering with the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust to host guided winter solstice labyrinth walks around the labyrinth in the woods at Crystal Spring Farm. There's 3 walks, and then there's also a time after that last walk if you would like a quieter evening. The 3 previous walks will have singing and some nice group activities, and those are guided. All of these programs here are open to all. They are free of charge, and you just need to hop on our website to register for those. All right, and without further ado, I'm so excited you're all here for our Sustainable Gift Giving program. And I would like to welcome Laura Marston. Laura is joining us from her home in Cape Elizabeth this evening. And she is the owner of GoGoRefill, which is a refill store I'm sure you're going to learn a lot more about in South Portland. And they also just opened location right in Brunswick. So you can head over there for your gift giving needs. All right, so I am going to stop my screen share, and Laura, you can hop on when you're ready.
Great. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time to come and listen to me and chat. But I forgot to change my title slide. I was working on my slides this afternoon, but I'm going to talk today about some sustainable gift giving, but also how to navigate the holidays as sustainably as possible. But before we get to that, I just wanted to give you guys my standard blurb and talk about why we're reducing waste, why we're specifically reducing single-use plastic, and how we're doing that at GoGoRefill and beyond. So here we go. I'm Laura. Pleased to meet all of you. I'm the owner of GoGoRefill, and GoGoRefill was founded in 2019. The whole goal is to start a community conversation about our waste and offer solutions and ideas for how we can reduce our waste, specifically single-use plastic. So the way GoGo solves that problem for us is by offering bulk refills of home and body products. So the best example I can mention is your laundry detergent. So you buy this big durable laundry detergent container at the grocery store, and you take it home and you use it, and then it's super durable, it's super large, it fills up your recycling bin. We want you to not recycle that and not put it into the waste stream at all, but actually bring it into a store like ours and refill it with laundry detergent, because that container can be refilled hundreds and hundreds of times before it breaks down. My zero waste journey really started in about 2017. It was 2017 because it was a New Year's resolution to not buy single-use plastic water bottles anymore. I had a nice durable water bottle. I would come home from car trips with my little kids and just have plastic water bottles in the back of the seat and think, why am I doing this? So it started as a New Year's resolution. I've never made another New Year's resolution in my life. So this one really stuck and really opened my eyes to the problems of plastic pollution. Our motto at GoGoRefill is think big, start small. We really believe that the power of communal, systemic, small changes, we can make a big difference together. We also very much realize that we're asking people to take an extra step in their routine. So we try to make it as welcoming as possible and as delightful as possible to do that. We're a judgment-free zone. So we try to make sure that everybody feels welcome no matter where they are along their zero waste journey. So what is zero waste? The aspiration to send nothing to the landfill, to most specifically skip the single-use plastics and close the loop. So how we close the loop is by refilling containers that are already in use in the world. Why is this important now? And why is this becoming a movement now? Well, it all started really, well, it's been going on a while. My grandmother has never thrown out a piece of wrapping paper in her life. So she really modeled this behavior for me all growing up. She's 102 now. So she gets to see what I've learned from her and putting it back out into the world, which is lovely. But there was a book written in 2005 by Bea Johnson, as Jenny was mentioning before, but where she really beautifully described a life where you can be zero waste with a family. Some of those tips and tricks are wonderful. A lot of that lifestyle doesn't feel super attainable for people. But it's become really a popular thing with influencers and bloggers, people who, as you see here, this is a mason jar that someone's landfill trash fit in for an entire year. We want to make this kind of lifestyle accessible as much as possible to people who maybe aren't going to devote their entire life to not making trash, but we want to make it something you can intersect with in your normal life. So why are we ditching plastic? I'm sure a lot of you have heard a lot of this before, but the major problems with plastic, number one, is pollution. I feel like during this conversation, we talk a lot about disposal and about what happens to plastics in the environment, which is really important too. But I really like to make a step back and think about the plastic as from extraction to disposal. All along that life cycle is very pollutive. So extracting oil and natural gas, manufacturing, logistics, and disposal are all emissions intensive parts of the process. So if we can avoid using it, we can hopefully make less have to be made, and we help with that whole life cycle. Number two is recycling problems. Only 5 to 6% of plastics get recycled at all. And then what happens to plastics in the environment is they break down into harmful microplastics, easily consumed by wildlife, by humans. There have been a lot of studies that have come out in the past year and a half or so showing how much plastic is actually in our bodies, in our blood, in our lungs. It's alarming. A big aha moment for me was really realizing that we can't recycle our way out of this problem. Only 5 to 6% of plastics get recycled. Only 1% of those get recycled again. Part of this is a semantics problem. We say plastic is recycled, but for the vast majority of us, the plastic that we send into the recycling isn't actually recycled, it's downcycled. So whereas when you recycle glass or aluminum, they turn into the same thing again. So the aluminum can, you drink your soda or your beer, you put it in the recycling, within 60 days, it's back on the shelf as an aluminum can. But with plastic, your plastic water bottle is recycled into something maybe that's like carpet fibers or decking or car parts that are not easily recycled a second time. Recycling is also varied and confusing. I live in Cape Elizabeth. We're an eco-Maine town. I know what we can recycle, but neighboring towns could be totally different. So we as consumers and as Americans, we receive national messages about what's recyclable. The products that we look at, we buy in the store, they might tell us, oh, it's recyclable, but we don't actually know that because recycling is done on the municipal level. So because we can't recycle our way out of it, we have to reduce it in our homes, in our communities, and in our systems. How can we do that as individuals? Before I continue, I wanted to say, I mentioned at the beginning about think big, start small, that we believe in the power of collective action. In our first 3 years in business at GoGoRefill, we helped refuse over 120,000 plastic packages. So that's from refilling and replacing products that come in single-use plastic with other things, refillable, reusables. So just nice to show that it actually does work. That's 120,000 plastic packages that won't have to be dealt with on our municipal waste streams, that taxpayers won't have to pay for the disposal of. It's 120,000 plastic packages that won't end up in the environment and that won't have to be manufactured again. So reducing your waste at home. This is pretty much what we focus on at GoGoRefill. A tip about doing it, if you're interested in starting or enhancing your low waste journey, doing a waste audit. Looking at what is in your waste stream helps you identify places that you can reduce. So when my family did it, we live in Cape Elizabeth. We don't have trash pickup, so we have to take it to the transfer station. So just one Saturday morning before we went, we dumped it out on the floor in the garage, and we, used a stick and sorted things into little piles. And from that, we learned a lot about what we were putting into the waste stream, because, when you throw something away, it doesn't stick around in your brain necessarily. So we had 7 disposable coffee cups in that first audit. We had, a bunch of hummus containers. We had a bunch of things that we said, do we need to be buying that? Do we need to be bringing that waste into our homes in the first place? So that started a rule for us, which is no more buying coffee out unless we have it in our mug or a reusable mug. So making rules for ourselves as something I have on the screen, but that's super important part of this too. Using up what you have is sometimes not the most exciting way to go about this, but the least wasteful thing to use is the thing that you already have. You may see the shiny object, something that's new, something that you want to try, but making sure that you're replacing something that you are out of is a good way to do it. Go slow and steady. Zero waste is an aspiration. It's not something that you're just going to click and do. And some people, you can get kind of overwhelmed or feel like you're failing and fall off the wagon. But if you give yourself a lot of leeway, there's only so much you can do sometimes. And just remember that you're slow and steady gets you there. And the last thing here is set rules for yourself. Maybe it's just me, but I'm terrible at real-time decision making. And so if I have a list of rules, things I don't buy, things I don't do, it really, really helps me in my daily life. The low waste home. So there are tons of things you can do in bathroom, kitchen, reusables in your home to reduce plastic and waste. In the bathroom, I have a picture here of a bunch of different bars. I have a shampoo bar, a conditioner bar, a facial bar, a body bar. There's like every day I feel like I get an email from a company that says, we have a new bar to do this thing that Liquid has always done. Bars are great because they are shipped without the liquid. So the carbon footprint of the shipping is lower, and you can easily find things and they didn't have them shipped to you. So in the kitchen, I like this example because if you look at this picture in the kitchen, so before I transition to living low waste. That in my kitchen counter would have been a plastic bottle of dish soap, a plastic bottle of hand soap, a plastic scrub brush, a plastic sponge, a plastic pot scraper. And after years of going through and systematically replacing and using refillables and reusables and focus on like the dish brushes that you see there are all coconut fiber and wooden handled and compostable at the end of their lives. So that's in the kitchen alone, I think like 5 plastic bottles, including the all-purpose kit spray and the stove cleaner spray, 5 different plastic containers that I would have bought multiple times a year at the grocery store. That now that process in my life contains 0 plastic. So it's really nice to see after several years of making these changes, looking back and saying, okay, yeah, no, I see it. My house is, we're making progress. Reusables, anything you can switch to a reusable is preferable, right? Reusables, not disposables. In the picture where I'm joyfully cleaning my kitchen, I am using a reusable paper towel to wipe my counter. The spray bottle I'm using is a reusable, refillable spray bottle. For food storage, we use reusable containers or beeswax wraps instead of plastic wrap. But those changes are really, there are a lot of options there for things you can replace. Out of your home, BYO, I call these the 3 most important letters in the zero waste alphabet. Bring your own. Getting used to having your thing with you that you're going to need is a really important part of the low waste lifestyle. So grocery bags, we had Maine's plastic bag ban went into effect. But you don't have to stop there in terms of what to bring to the store. Usually I have a little bag next to me to show you. But so we all bring our tote bags to the grocery store to pack our groceries, but we also can bring reusable produce bags. So those are just little cotton bags that you put your produce into in the store instead of using those like very thin number 4 films that you use for 20 minutes while you take something home from the grocery store. And then it's not really reusable, it's not easily recyclable, and it's trash immediately. Americans consume 7 million disposable water bottles a day. That is a lot of trash and a lot of money spent on water. So getting used to toting your own bottle with you, which, as I told you, was my first step, can save you a lot of money and a lot of waste. And then utensil sets. So I have a cute little utensil set that I keep in my purse. So I always have it and I never need a plastic fork. Plastic cutlery is never recyclable and it is likely to end up as litter. But you don't need a cute thing. You don't need a fancy, cute utensil set. You can just take a fork out of your drawer and put it in your purse. And there you have your utensil set. Low waste grocery shopping can be really challenging. So I'd like to say that package free is best, but better options are still better options. So for package free, I shop at my local co-op. I shop at local farms. Our refill shop doesn't do any bulk food, but there are some that do, and that's great. But still just making sure that you're thinking in the aisle about what's going to happen to the package when you're done with what you're buying. So making that thought be high up in your mental hierarchy when you're making a purchase decision. In this picture, I have a glass jar of peanut butter instead of picking a plastic one. And then lastly, making a do not buy list, setting rules for yourself. So on my do not buy list has a bunch of stuff on it, but off the top of my head, meat, I don't buy meat at the grocery store. If I'm going to buy meat, I buy it from the butcher. because the packaging is better and local meat has a lower carbon footprint. And I don't buy hummus in plastic containers anymore, even though I love it. And I don't buy berries when they're out of season because they come in plastic and they're usually flown to us because we live in the snowy north. And, but we go, yeah. So those are just a few of my personal rules, and I'm not saying those have to be your rules, but make your own rules. Makes it easier when you're in the store. And then composting. When food breaks down in the landfill, it gives off a lot of methane. When it breaks down in a compost pile, it doesn't. So there are a lot of public compost. Well, down here, I'm learning about Brunswick still, but I know that there are areas in Brunswick you can drop off compost if you don't have a home pile. But there are also services that will come pick it up from you. So if you don't want to have your own pile and turn it and get dirty with it, you don't have to anymore. I know that Garbage to Garden is coming up to Brunswick. I don't know if they're fully functional up there yet, but they're coming. As I mentioned before about recycling rules, really digging into what is recyclable where you recycle and where you live is really important. Because not only do we want to dispose of things properly, but also when you wish cycle, you can tend to contaminate other recycling streams. So we live in Eco Maine town. We went to do the Eco Maine tour. It was fascinating. It was really fun. And we are better recyclers from it. And we understand why we can only recycle certain things certain ways.
Laura, would you be able to explain wish cycling
Oh, yeah, sure.
a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So wish cycling is when you put something in the recycling because you wish it to be recyclable. You think it should be recyclable. Oh yeah, this is definitely should be recyclable. So you put it in the recycling, but you may not be right all the time. So an example is a Post-it note. A Post-it note is maybe this is, well, I'm telling you now, I don't know. I think it's a little too small to be recyclable. So paper is supposed to be bigger than your palm. I have a small palm. So I think that is just under what can be recycled. Yes, you can recycle like pieces of aluminum foil, but they have to be, at least in Eco Maine, they have to be like softball sized. So if you have a little piece of aluminum, you think, oh, aluminum's recyclable, and you chuck it in there, but then that doesn't actually work that way. So if you're like me, you have a growing ball of aluminum under your sink that you just add all the little pieces to until it's big enough, and then you put it in the recycling. So reducing waste in our communities, because you're here, I'm just going to assume that you're interested in reducing waste. So it's important for us to be the stewards of this and to use our influence to spread the message. There are lots of places in our lives where we do have that influence. At your office, I just had a customer yesterday who came in and she said, I'm switching over all of our kitchen products at my office. And because I'm exerting the influence, I'm the one who's going to come and fill it up. So she filled up dish soap, hand soap, dishwasher pods, got brushes and sponges that are compostable. But because she did that, now she's teaching a whole group of other people who maybe wouldn't have thought about that stuff, how they can reduce themselves. Speaking up and talking about plastic pollution has a big influence. So, just by walking the walk and being out in town with your reusable mug and your reusable utensil set, people notice. So I've been called, oh, the girl who hates plastic by people, at the grocery store. When I have my reusable produce bags, they recognize you, they know who you are, and you're like, and they might ask you, well, why are you trying to ditch plastic? Or, and starting those conversations can be really impactful. I hate to be the person who's always like asking for something different, or speaking up and seeming dissatisfied with my options. So that mostly I see at restaurants. So when we go to a restaurant, I try to be as positive as possible about trying to be a plastic-free table. So that's what I say. I say, we'd love to be a plastic-free table. Is there any way you guys could help us with that? So I have kids, they're middle schoolers now, but we've been doing this for a while. So they were little. And so we'd go to a restaurant where I look around and I say, oh, great, it's all reusables on the table. But then we sit down at the table and immediately come these big plastic cups with caps and straws because we have kids. So trying to head that off before it happens and not be rude about it is tricky. So I have the script. I say, we'd like to be a plastic-free table. So no straws, please, for us. And if our kids can have regular glasses, that would be great. And once people know why you're asking for things, I feel like it's easier for them to buy in and play along and help out. I love to give positive feedback to businesses that are making good choices rather than giving negative feedback to businesses who aren't. But that's just me personally. So in Maine, we have our bag ban that we discussed. We were the first in the nation to vote into law a styrofoam food container ban. And then most recently, the EPR for packaging law, which is a huge deal. And EPR stands for Extended Producer Responsibility for Packaging. So what that law aims to do is to shift the cost from Maine taxpayers who are paying for disposal, shift the cost of that back onto the brands who make the packaging and sell things into Maine. So EPR for packaging exists all around the world. We were the first state in the US to vote for a law like this, but subsequently Oregon and California have also adopted EPR for packaging laws. So how it works is like your Amazons or your Nestle Waters, they make a lot of packaged goods or sell a lot of packaged goods, right? So they will pay into a fund in Maine. And when they make good decisions about their packaging, they'll pay less. So if they make their packaging more easily recyclable, less plasticky, then they'll pay less. And it works in the European Union. 5 provinces in Canada have proven that this works to diffuse the cost that we are paying as taxpayers for our waste, but also increase our recycling rates and hopefully influence large brands to make better choices on their packaging. Oh, I had 2 slides on that, but I said everything on the first slide. Okay, so now we get to the reason we're here today. Thanks for listening to my lengthy preamble. The holidays are trashy. We make 25% more trash in the weeks between Thanksgiving and January 1st than we do the rest of the year. It can be tough to combat that. So talking about gift giving, we like to say give the gift of less. That's what we use in a lot of our communications around this time of year. But I want to start off by saying, if you're gifting, so I know that a lot of people, that's what the holidays are. And that's so exciting. And that's how people enjoy and connect with their families. So I'm by no means saying we shouldn't give gifts to each other. But what I am saying is some people aren't as enthusiastic about that part of the holidays. There are a couple things you could do. Talk to your loved ones. I just had this conversation with my brother this afternoon. Say, hey, let's have dinner together. Let's buy each other dinner instead of buying each other a thing. One way, and he's amenable to that, but the other side of my family is not. Gifts are the main event. I've made the offer, like, what if we did a Secret Santa instead of buying a gift for everyone in our generation? We don't need all the stuff. The kids will buy everything for the kids. So we're trying that this year. But those are the kind of things you can You can offer to your family members or in your friend group, to kind of reduce the amount of stuff that we're buying right now. There's so much pressure to buy a ton of stuff right now. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I get painted as a Debbie Downer often. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I love Christmas. I love Hanukkah. I celebrate both. But some gift options that are not trashy, giving something that's reusable. So I mentioned those reusable paper towels. Those are a big gifting item at GoGo. There are a bunch of gifts you can buy that are reusable things that will actually save people money. So you're buying them a gift that they can use again and again and again, and will actually save them money and hopefully be enjoyable to use. So the unpaper towels, we have like vegetable storage bags that are really cool that you can put your veggies in and they keep them fresh forever. And that's a really great gift. But anything like that, if you know somebody loves coffee, a cool coffee mug, a bag of coffee to go with it, that could be a great gift too. Giving experiences, gift cards for restaurants or things to do is always a great option and doesn't produce a lot of trash. Giving things that are homemade is always lovely. Giving secondhand. So this is something that I'm really loud about with my community, is just because it isn't new doesn't mean it's not fabulous. You can get very creative. You can find really unique, beautiful gifts that are secondhand, vintage, amazing things. It doesn't have to be new. We do a lot of outdoor activities in my family. And I have 2 kids and they're growing like crazy. And we very rarely buy them new outdoor gear. So we're big skiers. I don't think either of them has ever had a new pair of skis. There's just not necessary. There's so many places to get quality secondhand goods that are just as good. So if I've done anything right as a parent, which the jury's out, it's that I've taught my kids that you can give and receive secondhand, and there's no difference than it being brand new. Giving food to people, and then is wonderful. Giving local gifts are great. And then, making, if you're buying something online, we all do it. I'm no exception. Just doing a little bit of extra research on the company that you're supporting when you buy something online. Look at what the material is, look in their FAQs, maybe they say how they ship things, ask, do you ship plastic free? Is there a social benefit? Am I buying a gift from a company that then also gives back in a way? Those are really important and often great things to know, but also that's kind of part of the gift, right? So I got you this wonderful new flannel, and when I bought you this flannel, 10 trees were planted, something like that, a little bit something more. So once you've selected gifts or selected not gifts, wrapping gifts can be a really exciting way to make it unique and special. But you don't have to go buy wrapping paper. And we don't recommend it, because a lot of times that fancy wrapping paper is not recyclable. Those fancy gift bags with the glitter on them, not recyclable. So number one is use what you have. Use packing paper or paper bags. We're actually about to do a little project at GoGo this week where we're going to make stamps out of potatoes, and we're going to stamp a bunch of packing paper that we've received in shipments, and we're going to give it away to people at the store to use for wrapping paper. But I'm no artist. it's just like a little bit fun to get creative with that, and not go out and buy big rolls of wrapping paper. Make the wrapping part of the gift. So you can use like a thrifted scarf or a beautiful piece of fabric that you can fold furoshiki style. Do you guys know what that is? Where it's kind of in this gift up here with the blue stripes. So it's a piece of fabric that's wrapped around the gift and tied, instead of using paper. Giving reusable bags or containers as part of the gift is always a great idea, because it's part of the gift, but it's also the container for the gift. So up here, you can see there's a reusable silicone bag that's being given as a gift, and there are gifts inside it and just a ribbon tied around it. Also reusing wrapping. So save and reuse decorative gift bags, and save and reuse wrapping paper, a la my grandmother, as she always does. But those things have a longer life than we usually give them. A big part of the holidays is entertaining. And I know a lot of like Thanksgiving and holiday parties can make a lot of waste too. So having your table be decorated with reusables. So using plates, cups, silverware, napkins. People like eating off of real things better than disposable things, but often people don't have enough to have a whole party. So I have a party every year that is a bring your own cup party. We don't have enough cups for all the people, so bring your own cup or you can't have a drink. Look at your local Buy Nothing group. I don't know if you guys are part of Buy Nothing groups, but those are a great place to find things like that. Hey, I need in search of 6 extra plates for a family holiday, this party this weekend. Easy place. People are really quick to donate and to share those things there. Or ask a friend, hey, you're coming to my party. Can you bring 6 plates with you? Because I don't have enough. It's pretty easy. Decorate naturally. So as in this picture, forage for decor in the woods, look for, I love being able to eat the display when you're done. And then, simple boughs, things that are disposable, or things that are biodegradable can go in your compost, or you can have another use for them. Cooking for a crowd, sourcing local food is good for our footprint, but also often for packaging. And then remembering to compost our scraps. So I'm always compost girl at the end of the meal. I bring a 5-gallon bucket with me, so that I can offer that as a service to my hosts, but also offer that as a service to myself, knowing that food scraps won't be ending up in the landfill after our meal. There's big debate about the tree in the zero waste world. So what's better, fake trees or real trees? Fake trees are plastic and can't be recycled. Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think real trees. So real trees sequester carbon while they grow. Most tree farmers replant 2 to 3 trees for every tree that's cut down. So when the tree is growing, it's actually a benefit to the planet. And then buying local is always best. So I say real tree, unless you already own a fake tree. And if you already own a fake tree, use it until you can use it no longer. And then my last tip, take a deep breath. Being low waste during the holidays can feel lonely. It can be hard to be the one who's always like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Or can I take that? Or let's not give gifts this year. So sometimes it can feel a little bit isolating. I like to remind myself that my loved ones are trying to make the holiday special in their way. And through walking the walk year after year, maybe some of it will rub off on them and maybe it won't, and that's okay. The way I take solace in being a lonely zero waster during the holidays is I dispose of everything properly. I'm always the trash girl. I'm the one separating on Christmas morning, separating the paper that can be recycled, can't be recycled. It's helpful to my family that I'm with, but it also makes me feel better about what we've generated. Something that it took me a really long time to come to terms with, but I can return, exchange, regift, or donate things that came to me during the holidays that I know that I don't want to keep. I used to have, a box of stocking stuffers, and like every year I would add to it after the holiday and think, well, that's stuff I'm never going to touch. I would, now I don't even really let it into the house. I just donate it or regift it or give it away or return it. And that's been fairly liberating for me to realize that I can be in control of that and just do it. And that's it for my chat today. I hope you guys have questions and comments, and we can have a conversation. But these are just some ways that you guys can connect with us if you're interested in it.
Excellent. Laura, thank you so very much. I know for me, hearing all of these things, this is something that my family was very passionate about pre-pandemic, and hearing it all is like giving me this great renewed energy into what our gift giving will look like. So thank you so very much. I'm just going to open it up. I know we have a small group here, so if you have a question, just feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself and jump right in with that question. There were some great comments in the chat about what people are doing, so I'll just kind of go to those first. People were talking about garbage to garden and how they do pick up locally. So yes, I have seen the garbage to garden trucks. They do composting pickup. You can get those green bins, I believe, pretty easily. I want to say they're right at Hannaford as well. And let's see, Catherine had said the adults in our family give donations to favorite organizations rather than gifts.
Great.
Love that idea. And then Jacqueline said, our family does a lot of what we call scroll gifts. It's how we gift experiences or services. EGS.
Our family has a scrolling component too.
Oh, I love this. Scroll promising help with prepping the garden in the spring, cookie of the month, gifts given by 2 older family members who really did not need or want stuff. Yeah, that's a great idea. So if anyone else wants to jump in with a question or something that you're doing at home that you want to share with the group, you are welcome to do that. Or
Jenny,
questions for Laura.
Jenny, I have a question. Laura, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the whole aluminum has to be in a ball bigger than a softball. Like, I didn't know that. And the whole thing about the size of paper, is that all stuff that you learned at the Eco Maine tour?
Yes, and just by like looking at their recyclopedia and their materials. Yeah.
All right. Apparently I haven't done my research.
I still learn something every time I talk to one of those guys at Eco Maine. I really do. I think I'm an advanced recycler, and then I learn something new.
Well, I have a wish cycler in my family, and I need to educate myself, and then I need to educate my wish cycler.
Yes.
Does anyone else want to jump in with a question?
This is Mary O'Brien. Yeah, I just thank you so much, Laura. That was really wonderful. Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I'm doing a project locally promoting conscious consumption. So I created like a list of a guide about being a conscious consumer, and it's on the website of this project that I'm doing called Hope in Action, an Economy for All. And Laura, we have a section on buying less, and that's the best. And GoGoRefill is there. So I was really excited to learn more about your project. A lot of people are excited about it.
Thank you so much.
We have other ideas about, like, buying, doing things instead of buying, like we were talking about, like you mentioned like giving gifts to people and of your time and experiences and food and stuff like that. But we also have like a lot of ideas, like if you are going to buy, to try to buy from companies that are more socially and environmentally responsible. So we've really been promoting B corporations, which are businesses that meet a triple bottom line, that are oriented and legally sort of obligated to care for people and the planet, and as well as their profit. And then we also have a section on like buying locally, like how to find local food, the gift cards that are done to incentivize shopping in our downtowns. And then other sort of movements for businesses to be more socially and environmentally responsible that you can just check out, like 1% for the planet, or there's an initiative called Maine Businesses on the Path to 100% Green Energy. It's just kind of nice to know about those kind of businesses. So you can just check out those links on this guide. So I'm just going to put it in the chat.
That's what I was going to ask. Please do. I'd love to check it out. And and we are also a 1% for the planet business.
Oh, good for you. That's great. Well, Laura, I guess a question related to that might be like, what do you find is the most effective way to promote kind of this idea of conscious buying, using less plastic, that kind of thing? I loved your pop-up locations at the farmers market. That's a really neat idea. But now you have a store in Brunswick too, right? Which is a big, very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the answer to the best way to promote it, but for me, and one of the reasons that I really that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this and start this store, was really just like our community seemed really ready for it, and I was just having these conversations every single day, and thought like, well, okay, we'll open a storefront, and the goal of that will just be start a conversation. So that was step number one, is open a storefront so we can have people come and we can learn from each other. So when we first opened, it was, I mean, looking back at pictures, it's like we had nothing in the store. I don't know why I thought I could open, but just really just learn from what our customers were looking for and ways that we could help what our customers were looking for. And we've built our inventory basically around what people are asking us to carry. Yeah, I think just being as loud as we can about it. And as like in my slide about using your voice and using your influence, I really think, I mean, 9 out of 10 people who walk in our doors and say, oh, it's my first time here, they say, my friend so-and-so loves it here and told me that I have to come. So word of mouth is really the best thing in those personal conversations that we're having. We're trying to amplify as much as we can, obviously, to grow the impact of what we're doing. But I don't have the answer yet. If you find it, please tell me.
Yes.
I wanted to share, I have worms at home. I have composting worm bins.
I'm
and
so envious.
Also rats that are on the loose right now. So I apologize. One almost just went across the keyboard. But I started with Jock Roby at the Curtis Memorial Library, and he actually tomorrow, I don't know if anybody is I live in Portland now, but I used to live in the Brunswick area. And he is doing a workshop tomorrow, December 7th from 10 to noon. And he gives, like, literally sets you up with 100 worms. I now have 4,000 worms because of reproduction. But these are my worm bins. They're like just totes. I don't know how hard or easy that is to see, but they're just on a bookshelf. And I feed in our household, it's just me and my partner, and he's the coffee drinker. So we have a lot of coffee grounds, but other than that, we feed about 95% of our food waste, carrot tops, onion skins, and things like that. And it was just purely from looking in our trash one day and being like, what are we throwing away a lot of? So that's really been a really nice way I'm a teacher, so I bring it into my students and I'm like, guys, there's worms. And they're all like, ew, but kind of cool and engaged at the same time. But it's just nice because in our refrigerator, we just have a bin that all of our food scraps just go into. So that's been really nice. And it was also really nice, Laura, to be refreshed about the holidays and how much waste we do produce and ways to mitigate that and lessen it just even a little bit.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. But if anybody's interested, he does have availability tomorrow, and I can put his email and or his cell phone. Like, tell him Lindsay Strout told you, and he will gladly set you up. So right now there looks to be there's 2 people registered. And he's like, I need your help to encourage more friends and family to attend. So you'll get a free bin, free worms, and he's an amazing worm nerd. I'm a worm nerd, if you can't tell already. Worm and pet rats. So I will put that in the chat for everybody. But thank you so much for this. This has been really awesome.
Yeah, that's great. It's super interested in vermiculture.
Lindsay, thank you for sharing that. My husband went to that program at the library, and this is a few years ago, and came home with the whole bin and all the worms and everything. And we had it for a very long time. And then I don't know what our point was that we stopped having it, but it was really exciting that all of that was free and all the information. And he was a really great educator to like keep checking in on you in the process. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Curtis, that's at the Curtis Memorial Library. And
Yep.
Curtis Memorial Library also has their like library of things. And we rent out their, well, now because we have so many worm bins, we bought like a sieve, because if you are harvesting the worm poop, if anybody needs worm poop, I'm inundated with it. I don't have a garden. So if anybody wants worm poo, let me know. It's great fertilizer, amazing stuff for your plants, indoor or outdoor. So I'll put my contact in if you want worm poop.
Great.
That is a great reminder about the library of things too. So if everyone on here does not know about that, I have kids, and we went through the list of the library of things at the Curtis Memorial Library, and they have a waffle iron. We don't own a waffle iron, so we went and got one, and it was like this big exciting thing for the weekend. But they have lots of really unique things, sewing machines and garden tools and things that, you know, a leaf blower, you're like, oh, maybe I'll just use it once a season. And you can just go and borrow it from them. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. South Portland kind of has a similar thing with electric lawn tools, which is pretty cool.
I had a quick question about, we heard a lot about plastics and aluminums. What about cardboard? Oh, also, we're very excited about GoGoRefill. We can pretty much see it from our house in Brunswick. So it's going to be right around the corner. We go by it every day. So we'll be
Great.
using the shop most definitely. But I didn't hear much about cardboard. We own a business and we use a lot of cardboard and recycle cardboard. And I just know what kind of percentages, or is it does it get recycled more than plastic?
Yes, paper does, but paper doesn't recycle forever. It downcycles too, because of the pulp content. You know, it's hard to keep that similar. But I would say if you're generating plastic, if you're generating cardboard, if you're using it, just making sure you're sourcing post-consumer material in your cardboard is the best way to go about it. Cardboard, now I have to learn more about how things are recycled in the Brunswick area. Admittedly, I'm Portland centric for now, but I'm learning. I've started the research project. So I'm not sure how that works. So in EcoMaine, the cardboard is bundled and recycled domestically, as is all the plastic. Mm-hmm. So I have to do some research and figure out for your area how that cardboard is recycled. But because it is a natural material that is biodegradable, it's preferable to an alternate, a plastic in general.
Thanks.
I can add one thing about cardboard. A great way to use if you have a lot of cardboard and if you have access to space, or sometimes there might be a use for it at a community garden, but is using it to put on the ground and smother, if you want to start a new bed, rather than digging up the turf, you can put the cardboard down and then put other stuff on top of it, and then wait 2 to 3 months, depending on what time of year it is, and then plant through it. And you're supposed to take all the tape and stuff off, but I've used a lot of cardboard that way, particularly for those big boxes. Like if you get a new appliance or something, it's great for that. And I also just wanted to add that one thing that when our kids were young that I felt was a really positive experience was every year they made gifts, and oftentimes it was, they would make a pancake mix and make a special label for their, for the family that they were going to. And it really sort of set a standard for them of that's what you do. You make gifts rather than go out and buy them. And it was so much more fun than, them going out and buying things for other people. And I think they got as much enjoyment out of making those gifts. And, we, sometimes we gave them, we put the pancake mixes or whatever it was in mason jars, and they could decorate them nicely. And I don't know if you have any kind of I think it would be great, Laura, if you had in your store some sort of ideas like that for parents, because I think sometimes people just don't think about it.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. My kids do that too. And actually my son last year wrote a song for my parents. It was an ephemeral gift because I don't think he remembers the song now, but it was lovely nonetheless. But yeah, and also like gifting thing, people love well, I love jars. I think probably lots of you guys are high on the jar spectrum, but like getting a nice jar with something in it is lovely. Even like I do this. So I do this so I'm Jewish, but my husband's family is not. And so they celebrate Easter. I feel like I have to qualify it. So none of my relatives hear me saying I'm celebrating Easter. But for Easter candy, I use teeny tiny jars and fill it with the bulk candy that I get at the co-op instead of going out for a bunch of of packaged candy. Like in their Easter basket, they get little jars full of candy. But also like there are so many ways to use cute little jars or big jars. And I love that. I love gift in a jar.
Laura, could you say something about paper towels? Because I've always thought that it was okay to kind of put paper towels if they're not too soiled in the recycling, but like this whole idea of reusable paper towels I've never heard of. So
yeah. So paper towels are too thin to recycle. So they won't hold up to the process really. They're at the kind of the end. You can get a lot of paper towels that have a lot of recycled content in them because it's easy for paper to be recycled into paper towel type of pulp, but from paper towels, they can't be recycled again. I think that's pretty much universal, although again, check locally. So reusable paper towels are they're okay. You don't need to buy them. You can just use rags, right? So I want to preface that by saying that's totally okay and great. The unpaper towels that we sell at GoGo are 100% cotton flannel. They're very absorbent, they're uniform in size, and they're beautiful. Sometimes that helps you adopt to using a new thing or changing a habit when something looks nice and has a process around it. So they are awesome because I personally just put mine in a basket, but you can roll them on a roll and they just cling to themselves. They don't need to be lined up any special way. You can just roll them on your paper towel roll and they stay there. And so you can pull them off like a normal paper towel. For some people, that's part of the moment, the delighter moment of using the paper towel is taking it off the roll. So you don't have to give that up. But you just wash them. We use a bunch of kitchen textiles. So I have a small basket in the kitchen for things that are soiled. And then we just I do it pretty much with our regular laundry and then sort them out back into the kitchen. The average family spends over $150 a year on paper towels. The ones we sell are $32. for 12. So, you know, it's something that it's an upfront cost for a lifetime of savings.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. And not to mention the resources in water and trees that go into producing paper towels.
If everyone can see each other, Lindsay was holding up her reusable paper towels. I don't know if you can all see.
I actually bought, this is one more. It's a woman that made them, and I would actually love to, I apologize, my rat is being a naughty little girl and finding stuff that she shouldn't be finding, but this is like a napkin, a napkin, and they've just, I don't know, hemmed the edge. So I was thinking I could do this with like old t-shirts. I apologize. Yeah. I'm gonna mute.
I'd really like to see the rat though.
I know we can't hear the rat, so it's okay.
We can't hear the rat, but we'd like to see it. Yeah, totally. So yeah, you can get a set of paper towels like that. But again, just if you want to use kitchen rags, those, that's the idea.
She is currently trying to take newspaper and hide it under the couch. So yeah, we recycle all of our newspaper. They go into their cage for fun, enrichment. Yes, this is Mooney's like, I want nothing to do with the Zoom. Yeah, absolutely crazy pets. So Worms and rat.
I was once on a Zoom with a chicken, but the rat, that's a first for me.
Usually I put them away. This is their free time right now. So I've gotten one in the cage and I couldn't find her. So, but these are conversation starters too. I put one in my lunch bag every day, and at lunch, whoever I have lunch with, I don't go out of my way to like wipe my face with it, but they're always like, oh, what is it? I'm like, it's just a reusable napkin. I always try to store them. So I do bring my own utensils sometimes in my car, and usually they're wrapped up in one of these. But usually fun patterns get conversation starters as well. You can hook other people by that. Laura, you said that when you opened your store, you just wanted to have conversations, and it's all about it. And it's spread by word of mouth. So.
Yeah, Laura, I guess I would also ask you another question about, I think I noticed on your website, and I think in the invitation for this event, talking about trying to encourage people to find joy in this kind of like lifestyle. And I just think that's really fantastic, because that's, I think what I'm trying to do too always is promoting the idea that when we do things that are like thoughtful for the earth or for one another or for sustainability, like it's based on these values of kind of connectedness and caring for all that are positive for us. So I just wanted you to comment a little bit on like how your philosophy that way, and like, you know, how you came to that and how you've experienced it and how you see other people experience it.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, one big thing for us is that we are asking people to add an errand and add preparation for an errand by collecting their jars, making sure they're clean, that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure when you walk into GoGoRefill, you're going to have fun, because we want you to come back. We want you to have fun. We like to have fun. And I think my team shares that too. And that's the people who work at GoGo are definitely, you know, really enthusiastic about what we're doing, but also just really enthusiastic about bringing people along. So, you know, before I opened GoGo, I visited a couple of refill shops, and my experiences were mixed, right? So, some of them were, you know, a couple of them were really welcoming, but a couple of them were kind of like, oh yeah, kind of like unfriendly, like judgmental a little bit. And it was like, oh, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel like the way you bring people along on your mission. It doesn't feel like the way you encourage other people to join you. So it just was really important to me from the get-go that we made sure that in everything we put out, we are just inviting people along, rather than kind of that attitude like, if you're not already with us, then we don't care, you know? So, you know, we have many people who walk in to GoGo with their Starbucks cup or their Dunkin' Donuts cup, and like, we're not going to ever roll our eyes or say anything about that. What we're going to do is just say, like, what are you looking to reduce? How can we start off? Where can where do you want to build your habits from there? And we want to have fun. I mean, I think that, like, we're spending our time doing this and we want to make it enjoyable for us and for you. And then it's more fun for everyone.
That's great. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Laura. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments that you want to join in on? I think we are good. Well, Laura, thank you again so much for your time this evening. Thank you everyone for joining us. It seems like we all have some renewed energy in our waste reducing efforts. So thank you very, very, very much.
Great. Thank you guys so much. This was a blast.
Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you. Okay.
Happy gift giving.
Good luck with your business.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.